awaits you with open jaws.
Welcome Exiles, it's FX Killer here, bringing you another video, and in case you didn't know, that guy right there is Uber Izaro, and he hits really hard. So I wanted to just showcase right away that this build handles him no problem. And you can see we are rewarded, of course, with all these lovely treasure chests and the enchanting table. So, with that knowledge, I want to show you guys a build today using the Oni-Goroshi, a kind of troll weapon, but it is cheap, and with this build, you'll be able to hit really high numbers for very, very, very cheap. So, let's get into it. Alright, so before anything else, I just want to bring back up that screenshot of the 900k DPS and show you exactly where that came from so there is full transparency. So you can see here I just killed a pack of mobs, I got my charges up, but put down a totem and got the DPS. You can see I'm just out here in Ruin Square just killing stuff. There's nothing special going on. Not, I don't have anybody buffing me, etc, etc, etc. Alright. Now this build is only dependent on having the Oni-Goroshi sword. Nothing else you see is going to be necessary, and that's because this build largely revolves around having her embrace procced up. And you can see by the description that it's pretty OP, 20% cast, attack, move speed, immune to ailments, immune to stun, but the one we're mostly concerned with is the 123% to fire damage. Now, just to show you what I mean, I have a unbuffed and a buffed tooltip right here, and you can see that the fire damage difference is ridiculously different. And that, of course, is because of her embrace. Now, it's important to note that that fire damage is based entirely off of sword physical damage. That means that, just for instance, if you get something that adds 5 fire damage, that is not going to help her embrace proc get more damage at all. It is only based on your base sword physical damage, or melee in this case, but sword physical damage. So you're going to make your way down, just like any normal duelist build, except that keep in mind we're not dual wield. I usually get mana flows later when I actually need it. You don't really need it early game, so I wouldn't get this till later. You're going to want to focus on picking up Vitality Void and working your way over to Hematography, I guess. And also, get that jewel socket because they're very important. Iron Reflexes is good in some circumstances. I probably wouldn't pick it up early game, but go past it at least. And of course, pick up Golem's Blood while you're here. After that, you're going to want to go right on the tree and pick up some health here, and then also you're going to want all of these sword nodes. Pick up that movement speed, pick up that extra health, you can pick up the attack speed. This is all good stuff, all real optional. The only real important stuff to grab early on is the big sword nodes. You're going to be tempted to go up and get that crit here above, but you really don't need it. You're not going to need it. Many people would also take Druidic Rite here, but I didn't need it. So if that's something you need, just integrate that into your build. After that, you pretty much just want to work left through the tree, grabbing that other bottom sword node there, and then heading up and getting that crit ring up above. And then, of course, just all the nodes attached to it. It kind of all flows together. You kind of have to grab them all. Last but not least, or maybe earlier, of course, you're going to want to go up to that Wheel of Life, grab that other jewel node there, and, of course, start getting some extra life. For Ascendancies, I went ahead and went a pretty tanky route with Champion. Gladiator and Slayer will work great too, but I went Champion specifically because I really liked all the buffs you get with Fortify, and in this case at least, having Fortify all the time. But, in addition to that, you're also getting ailments removed at low life, which isn't such a big deal, you know, because we have Oni, but you're also getting the 200% armor and evasion. And you're going to see why in just a minute or two, why that's so important. So that all said, let's take a look at gear and links. So for my 6th link, which is typically going to be used for your DPS ability, I'm using Cyclone linked with increased crit, and again, remember we have to crit to get Ignite on our enemies, and Ignite is what gives us Hurt Embrace. So it's very important that our crit rate is high. And we're also using Conk Effect, Melee Fizz, Maim, and of course, Weapon Elemental Damage. Now, I highly recommend using Path of Building because the best gems for you are going to sort of change based on exactly what gear you have. But this is a really, really, really good base to go by. And the reason for that is without the increased crit and without getting tons of crit from the tree, you're probably going to have less than 50% crit. And I think any crit build should have more than 50% crit to really work. For headpiece, it's pretty optional. I like to use Starks. I did use Abyssus before. But as far as Starks is concerned, it's great defensive, has lots of health. And obviously if you can get one with an enchant on it, that's going to be even better. And you can see this is just my cast when damage taken along with Assassins. And then I have a fully leveled Blood Rage just sort of sitting in there. For a Neckpiece, I would recommend either a DPS Neckpiece or something that suits your playstyle, maybe Abyssos if you have one. Teresos is really, really nice for this build, especially because of the weapon range, the move speed, the res, and of course I happen to find one with Fire Leech, and of course since we're doing lots of fire damage, it actually helps a lot with Life Leech. I mostly use my ring slots just for, you know, resistances and whatnot. If you can get better rings, get better rings. Otherwise, use whatever you can here. These rings cost me, I don't know, about half X or X or so. But honestly, they're absolutely not necessary for this build, and they don't even contribute that much damage. I'm also using Death's Door here. You can use Combs. I like Combs a lot too. But Death's Door is just, they're great boots between the speed and the immunity to bleeding. For belt, you're going to be tempted to use the Stygian Vise with like 45 weapon elemental damage or something like that. But the truth is, you actually get more overall damage from boosts to your physical. So I specifically have gems in here with life and damage to sword, fizz damage, and then any other damage you can find. You can see this one gem actually has some procs on hit, so as soon as I crit, you know, my attack speed and overall damage goes up as well. So these are all just little things you can boost your damage with. And for gloves, these are just some standard rare gloves, you know, health, attack speed, some res, some fizz, you know, whatever cold, whatever you can get on those gloves and have good stats in. For my chest piece here, you can see I'm using this Cherubims, and that's mostly for the life leech and health. I do have a 6-link belly just sitting in my stash, but honestly, I like the way that this one works. And if I had Val's Acuity, I would probably use them and then replace this chest with a belly. But for right now, this is working just fine. And I just have some aura items here. And then, of course, the Ancestral War Chief Totem. This is the flask setup I like to use for farming. It's a Staunching, Divination Distillate, Taste of Hate, and its series, and then, of course, a Quicksilver. But I'll sub in Lion's Roar for the Divination if I need more damage for some reason. So I'm going to show you this interaction that we get between the Champion Ascendancy of 200% Armor Evasion on low life and the Stark's 150% Evasion on low life. So what we're going to do is we're going to head out to a low level area. I'm just going to pull a bunch of mobs, have them beat on me, and basically show you exactly what this is capable of doing. So if you look at my defense here, you can see that we're kind of hovering around the same amount. Yeah, we have 53% fizz reduction. But watch when we get to low life, which is below 35%. And you can see that this jumps way up to 69%. That's almost 20% extra fizz reduction. And these mobs obviously can't even get me lower now because the armor just went up so much. This can really help in situations where you get hit big, maybe a boss hits you or a mob just chunks you or crits you, and then you get hit right after. Well, guess what? Now you have 20% more fizz reduction with that low life. And, you know, there's a chance that this can save you. It saved me so many times. I can't even tell you how many times I would have died if not for that extra kick of mitigation. And it's just really a lifesaver, and when you have enough damage, it's worth getting. So I went ahead and just threw in a run of Izaro. It's on normal Izaro, but it's a pretty decent run. You can see him just kind of running through here, just one-shotting stuff. Got a random artisans. That was pretty cool. And then this first boss here, he just they completely melt. The other guy, I don't know how, he somehow got away with a little sliver. So I finished him off pretty quick. Then we buzzed through this second zone, and oh, there's a div box, so I edited it out, but I went ahead and rolled it, busted it open, got some loot from there, rolled out. You can see the second boss here, just completely shredded. It isn't even, it's like killing mobs. And then we go ahead and run through this third room. This is fun. Okay, and Izaro kind of goes down like a sack of potatoes as well. You still have to fight through her phases and, you know, use your ruby flask or whatever you're going to do to survive. I could have put on combs if I wanted some more HP. And we got some good drops from Izaro as well. So cool. Alright guys, well this is my first video of this type, so, you know, if you want to comment and tell me I suck, go for it. If you want to say, hey, it wasn't that bad, go for it also. But at the end of the day, as long as you're having fun, you're doing the right thing. So I'll go ahead and put up a Path of Building link down below. It's the paste bin, so just import that. You can import my character, and you'll be able to, you know, look at all the numbers and sort of tweak it and do it however you want. So as always, if you liked it, like the video, please subscribe. Help me get to 1,000 guys, because YouTube's new policies suck. And most importantly, try this build out, see if you like it, leave some feedback, and I will see you all in the next video.